Hello everyone. So in this video, I want to just kind of go through an overview of the Definitive Edition game in terms of like the interface, and then also talk a little bit more about um, ranked play. So when you start the game, this will be the screen you're at. It's your home screen, and you have a couple different options here. You have your standard game, which is going to be you against an AI and then or computer. And then you can have multiplayer, which is of course you against other players, or you can still play against the AI in multiplayer. Um, but yeah, you also have campaigns here. So I haven't played a tutorial yet, and I'm not going to go into the. I said no. What happened? Okay. Okay, so no tutorial. But yeah, anyways, here are the campaigns. There's just a bunch of different campaigns you can select from. And I think that the campaigns are actually kind of a good place to start when you're new to the game because it helps give you like a better understanding of like different units and such. So I would say if you're new, like absolutely new to the game, I wouldn't jump right into multiplayer unless you've seen like a lot of videos on the game or watched a lot of streams and you kind of already understand how the game plays. I'd probably either go into campaigns or into standard game. And we'll talk a little bit more about standard game. I'll start a couple standard games a little bit later on. So here's another thing. Historical battles. I'm guessing this just provides information about the history behind some of these different civilizations. Whoa, I'm experiencing this for the first time as well. Lots of black screen. I'm guessing this just provides historical information, but now it's crashing my game. No. Alright, let's see. Come on. Come back to me. Yeah, that sucks. Wait, it came back. Okay, sweet. What's the deal here? Oh, I see, I see, I see. Okay, so it looks like historical battles just as like another kind of, it's not like campaign, but it's more like um, maybe like what actual battles happened in the real world or something like that, and it's just like a game mode where you can play in those battles. So that's kind of interesting. Again, we're not going to really go through any of this stuff, but um, yeah. So it's kind of weird here. You don't actually have a thing that says return to the main screen. So I think what you have to do is return to the battles and then go back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I should have seen that. There's an AI difficulty. So yeah, these are just the different battles, I guess, the different historical battles. And yeah, and so here's the year in which they happened and so forth. The Art of War, is this just kind of like similar to the book? Okay. So it's kind of similar to the Art of War, the actual um, ancient writing, except for here it's kind of Age of Empire style. So this is kind of cool. I think that it kind of shows. Um, I think this is just kind of like a tutorial in maybe like a multiplayer where it kind of helps you learn the game a little bit more. So I'll maybe kind of go into this area and check this out. Yeah, I guess this probably just provides an explanation of certain things. I think overall, yeah, some of these things are actually a lot better than what I remember them in the original game, in terms of helping people to learn how to play. Okay, another learn how to play game mode. Okay, so this is just like another campaign, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Man, there's a lot of like learn how to play stuff now. I'm actually surprised. Okay, so actually it is a campaign. Oh, okay, this is the William Wallace campaign. So this is actually the original campaign, like the first campaign in Age of Empires 2. So yeah, if you've never played the game, maybe this would be okay. I don't know. Like honestly, I don't remember doing this when I was younger, and I just watched videos online about how to play, and that's kind of how I improved. I didn't do any of this stuff, but if you want to check it out, then that's cool. Especially if you're having issues with like playing multiplayer, like there's like latency issues or something like that, then definitely check that out. Okay, so here's your save games and replay. So if you ever save a game, they're gonna be found here. So here, actually, this is the saved games, and then here are just the replays of games that you've played. So let's see. So we could just go into one of these and see, like this Prodigy. Okay, so if we go here, we go to load replay. It'll just bring up a replay of the game. This is good to watching your recordings is actually a good thing to do in order to improve. Like sometimes you'll know kind of what mistakes you made during the game, and you don't need to go back and watch the replay, right? Especially if like the mistake you made ends up you losing the game like instantly. Um, but other times it's not as evident, and so it's important to go back and watch your recordings to kind of figure out what you did wrong. One of the things I think is really helpful is kind of seeing like how efficient you are in terms of like your usage of resources. So one thing that a lot of players that are new to the game struggle with is they struggle in random map to continually produce villagers from the town center. So they'll have a lot of like what we call idle time, which is basically when your town center isn't producing villagers, right? You want to always be producing villagers when you have your town center or in the beginning of the game. And so watching your replays to just check to make sure, yeah, you are creating villagers constantly is something that you can do to improve. So yeah, so I think in future videos too, I'll go back to watching replays, whether or not they might be mine or they might be other players. So we'll see. Um, Options. This is kind of where you can just change your different yeah your different options. I'll actually have a video of its own on hotkeys because I know like people always are a little bit uncertain about like which keys they should set to what. I think my hotkeys are actually pretty good, especially like I compare them to other players, and I think that mine are usually pretty good, maybe even a bit better. I think is like the scroll speed. Scroll inertia is something that you really don't want for the most part. It basically makes it so that like if you're moving your mouse from left to right, if you're doing it like an all-in-one movement, like it gradually gets faster, I think. So you generally don't want that. The click to drag scrolling is basically when you're looking at the map, you can actually right click and then like drag and then move the mouse to either side and it actually drags the whole like view. I personally don't use that, and so I disabled it here. But that could be something that when you're actually in a game, check this out and see if you like it or not. But yeah, I don't personally like it. And then some of these other things, again, it just kind of shows in the bottom right corner what it does, and just kind of you can experiment with it and see if you like it or not. Some of these though are just kind of, you know, it's all preference. I think over time you just will you'll develop preferences for certain things. Just I would experiment with it though and see if you like it or not. Um, Nothing really here in audio, just again same stuff. Graphics. I would say for most people it's probably best to just play on like unless you have like a high-end CPU. I would play with probably lower graphics settings just because, especially in multiplayer, because then I think it just helps your game run a little bit smoother. Um, but if you do have a really nice CPU, then I think that you could definitely run with the higher graphic settings. But I think in competitive, you do want to have a low because I think you want to prioritize performance over graphics because you want to win the game, right? So you don't want to have like all this extra graphical stuff that's kind of hindering your play. Yeah, and lastly, there's just like kind of the same stuff here. I don't think there's anything that's really too important to go into detail about. Oh, I actually have this unchecked or checked on my other account. I didn't realize that. So basically, this is one of the new. If you played the game before, this is kind of like a new feature. And like if you played the game before, occasionally you might delete like a town center or like a castle or something. And so having this thing checked, basically it'll ask you whether or not you actually intend to delete that building before you do it. And so that's kind of like a nice thing to have. I typically don't make that mistake, so I just leave it unchecked because there are times when I like to delete certain buildings and it's kind of annoying sometimes to have that that having that window pop up. So yeah, um, yeah, nothing else really here. So this is all the option stuff. There is one thing I guess you have to do before you check the ranked games. You actually have to do this ranked benchmark, and I'll just check and see if your CPU is good enough to run the game. Let's see. Here's the news. Just shows you about like new stuff in the game. Credits is just the credits for the game developers and all the people that help make the game. History. I'm guessing this is just this. Okay, so this is just kind of outlines every civilization. It doesn't really say anything useful in terms in like regards to the game. So if you're trying to like actually get better in competitive the competitive scene, like this information here isn't going to help you. So it's just kind of like a nice piece for those people that like to you know get into like the history of the different civilizations that are in the game. We'll get back to editors in 1 second. We're going to skip that right now. Mixer, I guess, is just a way for you to stream the game. So if you want to stream the game, I guess you can use Mixer, or for me, I use Twitch, but whatever is fine. So here is the mod center, and basically these are user created. It's like basically user created content for the community, and the mods are actually really nice because there are some features in the game which are they kind of impede. They kind of work against your ability to play competitively. And so the ones that I actually recommend are small trees mod. So this mod basically makes the trees in the game smaller, and it allows you to see like which trees your villagers are chopping, so that you can get like a more efficient layout of villagers. And also, you're able to see units a little bit better that are hiding behind trees when you have small trees mods. So in order to find the mods, you just go into browse mods, and then you can like look up the mods if you know what the names are. Otherwise, I think another way of finding some of the better mods is that you just press this DL here, which filters by download, and then usually the better mods are the ones that are the most downloaded. So in this case, um, the small trees mods is one of the mods, and then the other one which I have is this called Zetness Improve Grid mod. And basically, this mod makes it allows you to see the grid lines on the map, which can be useful in terms of placing buildings. It helps you to know whether or not you're walled or not, like because you can see kind of which squares. You can see all the individual squares. Anything else in here? There are some mods for like different game styles that the community likes to play. So like one map that's particularly popular with the community is like this map called Forest Nothing, and so there's a lot of different variations of that map in in there. In fact, I'm actually going to download this mod right here. So I don't like having to see the snow is kind of like, I don't know, for some reason it's just not as, I just don't like looking at it as much. And so this grit here's this guy made the same mod, but now it doesn't, you don't have snow on the thing. So I guess like with where there is snow on like a map, it just is replaced with the green grass. So it does kind of hinder the I don't know what you call it, the visual aspects of the game or whatever. I mean, it doesn't look as good maybe, but in terms of being able to play competitively, I think it helps out. So I'm actually gonna unsubscribe from this one because I believe you need to unsubscribe. You can't have two of the same mods or similar mods going at the same time. So I'm gonna subscribe to this one. And so really, it's just as simple as that. You just press the subscribe button, and then it gets you the mod. Um, I'm just kind of browsing through this really quick, just for my own. I don't really see anything else that I see. It's like, what's this? I don't know what that is. I'm just looking for stuff that I think will help in competitive games, but I don't really see anything. I think like some improvements that could be made in terms of the mods. It could be like there could be a mod that makes fish more visible, and so that's easier to see where the deep fish are. Another mod that I think could be kind of useful is oh yeah, I do have another mod that I need to get here. Another there also are like these extra trees and stuff like that 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 are not very well, they're not trees, they're like bushes, but they're not like you can walk over them, but they kind of look like trees. And so it's kind of annoying because you don't know if there's a tree there or not, and sometimes when you're walling you end up leaving holes because there are like these weird textures. So let's see. um Man, what was this called? I forget what it was called. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so it's called useless plants remover. And so yeah, there's a lot of useless plants that kind of look like they could be trees if you're not familiar with the game. And so that was something that I remember I got. Uh, but yeah, um, but yeah, they could make the somebody could make a mod. It probably is in here somewhere, but it makes the fish more visible. That would definitely help. And then maybe even I thought maybe the even smaller trees. Okay, look at this. On fire. I don't know if this is that. Let's see. Let's see how small it is. I'm gonna subscribe to this one, the even smaller trees. So I thought that the small tree mod is good, but I think that the trees could be even smaller because there are times where even the small trees still seem too large. So I'm gonna try that one out, and we're gonna look at that in a second. Anyways, that kind of covers it all. What is this? Step Lancers. Oh, sweet. So like Step Lancers is a unit in the game, and um, so now they made a mod to nerf them. That's kind of cool. But anyways, these mods they don't really affect like if you use them in multiplayer, only the visual mods really work in multiplayer. You can't use like mods that like increase stats and stuff like that. That doesn't work on multiplayer. So only the visual mods work. So that's just important to note. All right. So anyways, I don't know how long this recording is so far. Is there any way to see? I can't see anything. So we're gonna keep going. Anyways, so we'll come back to the editors really quick. Let's go look at the multiplayer. So in the multiplayer, we have a couple different tabs up here at the top. Ranked is the first tab, and this is what allows you to get into like a ranked game. So here are the different maps that you can play ranked. There's random map and deathmatch, and I'll get into the differences between random map and deathmatch in a little bit. But so you can see here there's 1v1, 1v1, 2v2, etc. And if you're going to play like a 2v2 or something like that, or any of these team games, you can actually invite people to your party and then select it and then find a match. So otherwise, you'll just be paired with random people. And here you can actually pick your civilization. So here's all the different civilizations you can pick from. I think there's like 32 or something, or 35 civilizations, something like that. Um, Also what you can do is you could pick mirror, which mirror is it basically you have the same civilization as um, your enemy. And I'm not really sure how that works in a team game. I assume that if you mirror in a team game, you have one of the civs of the enemy team. Um, but in a 1v1, if you mirror it, just you have the enemy civ. And so sometimes this is good because if you don't want to always pick like there's some maps where there's some civs that are really good compared to the other ones, but you just don't want to play those civs anymore. Like maybe you're tired of playing those top civs all the time, but at the same time you really don't want to lose. Like you don't want to you don't want to like lose the game because you didn't pick one of those civs. Sometimes mirror's kind of cool because like if the enemy picks like random or some other civ, then you get to play that other civ without having like a huge without having like a I don't know how you say it. Like it's basically a way to get like a decently fair game. Um, for the most part, I play on random because I just like to like try to think of different strategies to win games. But if you're trying to win a lot of games, random's usually not the way to go because, like I said, people that are trying to win games will typically pick the best civs on each of the maps. But like I said, it gets pretty boring. Like there's like 3 or 4 top civs on each map, and if you always pick those 3, 4 civs, then it's like you don't play like probably 3/4 of the civs because you always picking the best one. And then full random is just I guess it says here in the bottom it says play as any random civilization. Previous civilization choices are not taken into consideration. So I'm not really sure. I think this just means that you could have like duplicate civs on your team. Like if you pick random, I think that there's no duplicates. Um, but if you pick full random, I think you could actually have like 2 Huns if you're like a team game, like 2 Huns team members, stuff like that. Um, so here are the settings for random map and the ranked game mode, and then um, these are the locations. So I guess over time they're going to change these maps, and so there'll be different maps to play in. And when we go into the editor, we'll look at each of these maps and kind of just, I'll probably do that in another video, but these are the different locations. And so I think it's important that if you're trying to play ranked games, to go into the editor and look at some of these maps, or go into standard game and look at some of these maps before you play them, just to give you an idea of like how to play them. Because if you haven't played the maps before, it can be kind of hard to know like if you're going to pick a civ, which civ to pick, or like even how to play the map. So I'd recommend that people go in and look at the civs before, or the maps before going to play them. So yeah, that's kind of the same thing. And you can see that random map and deathmatch share the same maps, so there's nothing different there. Yeah. So let's go, let's look at the next tab here, which is lobby browser. So this just shows non-ranked games that you can join. So a lot of these games are probably, they're not random map or deathmatch. They're like these special game modes. So like here is like it's a user created map called Castle Blood, and so people that like to play those types of game modes, um, they play in the lobby browser here. So if you're interested in playing non-ranked games and you want to check out some other cool um, communities or whatever, I would recommend that you come into the lobby browser and check this out. So yeah, it appears like maybe it's like bugged or something right now because there's not that many games, and I expect there's probably a lot more, but I think they'll fix that in the future. Here you can spectate games. Excuse me. And so yeah, there's just a bunch of games here. I'm guessing these auto matches are just ranked, probably ranked games, whereas the named ones are non-ranked. But yeah, you can just join one of these games. So like let's join let's just join one of these games. Let's just join this game here. So like you can just go in. Actually, let's see if there's a rank. Can we search by ranked games? It'll just be like all the auto matches, I think, right? Um, yeah, let's just go into this one. And you can filter based on like what type of game style it is or whatever, like we did here with the ranked. So so the game should start as long as the game's already started, which it usually has. You can just jump right in. So yeah, and then we're back into like the spectator thing. So I don't think there's like really any spectator settings that I think it's all like the same as watching or recording basically. It's all the same like spectator settings. So here they're playing on a map called Valley, and yeah, you just like speed up the game here. I think this like slows the game down a little bit. Pause, play, whatever. I don't know how far they actually are into the game. Like it doesn't say that, I don't think. So I'm not sure. Like, yeah. Anyways, let's jump back out of this. Here you can actually see like statistics and stuff during the game, which I think is kind of useful. Um, anyways, so that's spectating games. Here are the clans. So uh, so here's like a clan that I'm actually in, and but you can look at all the other clans here, and then yeah, you can join clans. Some of these ones are locked, so like the ones that aren't locked, you can just join right away. The locked ones you actually have to send an invite to. But let's see, if you click on the clan, it's weird. I don't know if you can actually see the it doesn't show the people that are in that. I don't think, but I'm not sure. Anyways, there's not really much to this. It's kind of just if you meet somebody, then yeah. Here's the leaderboard. So there's again, it's all the ranked leaderboards. Just shows the best players in the game, their ratings, their wins, their win percentage. Right now, I'm not in the top 100. Like I think if you're not in the top 100, you don't show up here. So I'm outside the top 100 right now. But if you get into the top 100, then you'll show up in here. And then here's your profile. So like I don't show up in here, but I can see my rating here. So um, it shows you. I don't know what this ranking, like the gold ranking thing is, but I guess I'm ranked 242. 16 wins, 23 losses, or 23 games total. Yeah, and then you can change your icon if you want. I don't really care about this stuff. All right, we're probably past the 20-minute mark on this video, so we're getting there. All right, so lastly, let's go into the editor and It's a lot to take in. So what we do is we go into the editor here, and what is this? And we can go in to create a scenario. And so now you can just create your own maps and stuff inside the editor. I don't do any map creation, but for people that want to explore that type of thing, this is where you're gonna go. I don't really know a lot about like map creation, and I won't be really making any videos on it. So you'll have to try to like get in contact with people that actually make maps. I'm sure if you like Google stuff, you might be able to find stuff about map creation. I think it's pretty similar to the way it was before. There's probably just some small changes. Anyways, so what I use the map creation for is I the editor for is I like to look at these maps. So here you can see like with tab we're under, it's highlighted in green. And so if you remember, we looked at that map pool before. And so what I do is I look at the map pool, I write down the maps, and then I go here to map. I go to random map, and then it allows you to pick the map. And so you want to make sure it's 2-player size. You don't want the map to be too big. But then here it allows you to pick the map. And so like Arabia was the first map listed. And so what I like to do is I like to generate the Arabia maps to see what the Arabia maps look like. Let's see, can I zoom out here? Okay. I like to see what they look like before I go and play the game. Obviously, Arabia is a very popular map. I've played it many times, so I didn't really need to do that for this map in particular, but it's just important because you want to know like different maps have different like uh, distributions of resources, and you want to be able to know where the resources are at. All right, so none of these maps: Baltic, Black Forest, Bog Island. Here's another one. I think it's called Cenotes. And what you do is again just generate the map, and you just look around at it. This map is kind of similar to Arabia, except now here you have these kind of marsh areas. But again, it's kind of important to look at these things because um, you might think like, okay, maybe it's worth docking on this, right? And that's something that you might not otherwise do if you hadn't seen the map beforehand, right? Again, another thing is you want to keep track of. One of the big things is how much food do you have, because that's really important in random map is how much food you start with. And so standard is basically you start out with 8 livestock around your base, and then 2 boars. So that's one thing I always check is I see the original 4 starting livestock. There's 2 here. Deer aren't considered livestock, and neither are these boars. Um, Here's the other 2 livestock. They're turkeys. So that's standard. And then there's a boar here, and there's a boar here, and then there's some extra deer. That's kind of like a side note. But anyways, um, just keeping track of that. Again, I'll kind of go through. I'll go through 1 or 2 more quite quickly here. Continental is another one. So continental is I'm not really familiar with water maps usually, and so I like to look at the water maps in particular because I think like with this map, you can see that there's water all around, and typically gathering fish is really good for your economy. So knowing where like the large bodies of water are so you can dock there is important because if you're just docking like right up against the side here, then um, there's only like 1 or 2 deep sea fish here, which are the fastest gathering food, right? Within like a small like an area versus like if you dock here, there's like 3 or 4 even, right? And so kind of looking at that is important. Also, you kind of want to know like does it have choke points like here? There's 1 choke point and it's quite, or there's actually 2 here, but they're quite small. And so you want to kind of use those kind of characteristics to gauge like how you should play this map. And then again, like I said, generate a couple maps, don't just generate one. And again, you kind of still see the same things. Like there's kind of this middle island, and then there's these small choke points on either side. Here, again, this one has a couple, like, seems like larger choke points, but again, the map is kind of similar in the way it's designed. Here, you actually have wider sides. Like sometimes it's not connected here, and then sometimes it is. So that could be something to note. All right, lastly, coastal, or actually, let's look at maybe like rivers. There's another water map. So rivers, you can see that there's these rivers that kind of run through. There's a choke point here. There's one choke point. There's another choke point here. The islands are not connected except for, I think with rivers, again, I'm not 100% sure about this because I haven't like looked at this a whole lot, but I think there's only one choke point in rivers. And that's really kind of a key piece because it's like if you've walled the choke point, then unless they've snuck over onto your side, the land attack has to come through here or has to go through like a transport ship. Another thing to note about rivers is that there's often like gold in like these center islands. So like controlling the waters is pretty important later on because you want to get this extra gold. That's something I didn't know a couple weeks ago. But yeah, anyways, when they do change the map pool, the first thing I'm gonna do is jump back here and look at these other maps and uh, see how to play them. I'm sure like after like I don't know like a year or so, we'll probably have gone through most of these maps, and so you'll probably have a good understanding how to play them. But it doesn't hurt to come back and kind of get a refresher on the maps. So, anyways, that's kind of all for the editor here. Again, you can try to, sometimes the other thing you can do is you can generate games and situations. You have to manually do it by like manually picking each unit and stuff like that to like create a scenario, but it can be useful if you're testing something out. But like testing how one unit does against another one, that's kind of stuff that's useful there. So let's go into standard game here, and again, there's all these settings here on the side. Which game mode. Okay, we talked about random map. We haven't talked about them yet. I don't know if I should. I guess this is gonna be a long video. If you guys need to pause the video or something like that, I apologize. I usually don't try to make like super long videos, but I feel like most of the people already know what I'm talking about, and so I just wanted to like get this video out of the way. But so this is gonna be a long video, I suppose. So random map and deathmatch are the two big ones, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. I just want to highlight some of these other ones. Empire Wars, again, and I would, if you guys are interested in these types of things, just try out a game, like put the setting on and start the game. They're not very popularly played, so don't expect to be able to find a game super fast with them. But and they're also not ranked, but um, people play them, so. Empire Wars is actually a new game mode they made that basically I don't know exactly. Let's see. We'll just check this out. I think you just start with let's see. Let's see. Oh, they actually set the age. Okay, so you start in feudal age and you already have like a pre-made economy here. Okay. So this is just to like help you get going like in the game a little bit faster. You can see you already start with 27 population. You start with the same amount of resources, but yeah, I guess this just helps you get into the game faster for people that want to do that. Regicide is, well, again, I guess we can start all these games just for people to see. So Regicide is like actually uh, it's a mode where you start with a castle. You start in Dark Age, and what you do is you have to protect your king, which I have no idea. Okay, so you have a king here, and you either lose the game by being totally overrun by army, or if this king dies, you lose. But you see, you start with more villagers here. You have to start with more resources than like a standard or random map. But you do start in Dark Age, so you do have to like build up. And Dark Age, I haven't really explained it, I guess, for people that are totally new. But there are different ages that represent your technological advancement of your civilization. And so Dark Age is the first age. Then there's Feudal Age. Then there's Castle Age. Then there's Imperial Age. And so, but yeah, if you're starting from Dark Age, it's basically assumed you're starting from like the ground up. But anyways, so yeah, if your king dies, then you lose that way. Otherwise, if you get overrun just totally, but the king survives, you still lose basically. So, and yeah, the castle is just a very, yeah. So like, watch if I delete the king here, you lose. This is more like this game mode isn't so popular 1v1. It's more of like a team game thing. Um, I know there's a streamer. His name's T90 Official. He's a really big streamer. You guys have probably heard of him. Uh, but he streams a lot of like team game
I don't know if it's considered regicide, but it's like capture or kill the king mode or something like that. Whoops. King of the Hill. This is like a normal. Like I don't really need to go into this one. King of the Hill. We can look at the settings though. I'm curious as what the settings are. So King of the Hill, the start, everything's standard here. King of the Hill is just basically there's an area that is like a sacred hill or something, and whoever controls the hill for like the longest, I think you have to control it for so much time. Like you have to, it's like 200 years, which is probably like the equivalent of like 5 or 10 minutes, right? And if you control the hill for that long, you win the game. So yeah, deathmatch. We're gonna get into deathmatch a little bit, so I won't talk about that right now. Sudden death is, I think, let's see. So sudden death, as I know it, is you only can build one town center. So that kind of encourages like very heavy military aggression because usually town centers are used to protect villagers, but if you can only build one of them, then it's hard to protect villagers, meaning you have to make a lot of army to like survive. So that's my understanding of sudden death. Capture the relic is a game mode where there's a relic, one relic in the game, and whoever collects the relic with a monk and brings it back to their monastery uh, wins the game. Typically, it's a team game based thing, so yeah. But yeah, again, if you guys don't understand exactly what I'm talking about, uh, it's not super important because again, these game modes aren't that popularly played. But feel free to like check it out, like to join, go into the game or like Google it or something like that. There's YouTube videos about all these game modes. So if you are more interested in one of these game modes, you just like look up a YouTube video of it and you'll see what I'm talking about. Defend the Wonder is I don't know what Defend the Wonder is. I guess it's probably like the Regicide a little bit, where instead of a king you have a wonder. Let's just jump in this. I want to see this one. I haven't actually seen this before. I assume you just start with a wonder, and then you just whoever kill like if you lose your wonder, you lose. Although I don't know if you start in Dark Age or let's see, starting age standard. Yeah, you start in Dark Age. It looks like. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So you start with a bunch of resources. Oh, you even start in an arena as well. So you start with stone walls, which are good. It's kind of funny that they have these stone walls like this because you can just like palisade hop these, which is funny. Anyways, yeah, I guess he's just defending the wonder. What is this? Wait, is this what happened here? Okay. I don't understand this. I guess it's a draw maybe if everyone. Let's see. Ooh. Oh, this is interesting. So it's like one player. It's like one player starts with the castle and the other player starts with the wonder. And I think that's what it is because this is a castle, right? Yeah, I mean this is a cataphract, so yeah, this is a castle. Yeah. It says this. Duh. Okay, so I guess there's one player that has a castle and is trying to kill the wonder here, and then the other person has to defend. Okay, that's interesting. Again, it's not ranked, so I'm not really sure. But the wonder race is where you actually start, and you start with in the Dark Age, I think. Yeah, you start in the Dark Age, and whoever can make a wonder the fastest wins. And then custom scenario is just basically like user-made games. It's not they're like user scenarios. All right. So again, this kind of covers all the locations. Just kind of looking at the pictures here, you can kind of see like what type of map they are. Um, but yeah, if you want to get more information about the map, I would suggest going in and actually looking at the map itself. Yeah. Map size. So these are just different map sizes. Uh, AI difficulty. AI the AI is actually good to train on. If you haven't played the game before, I would recommend that if you want to play against like somebody but not like an actual person, play against like the AI on like hard, hardest, or extreme. I don't know if anyone who really struggle that much against moderate. I think like if you do struggle against moderate, you probably could beat moderate within like a day of practicing. but I think like the extreme AI is pretty decent. I can beat the hardest AI pretty easily. I've never played the extreme AI, but I would recommend that playing against the AI if you're trying to improve in the beginning. I definitely play a lot of I play against the AI quite a bit when I was practicing different parts of the game. It wasn't strictly to play against the AI, but it's just like when you're trying to practice something that doesn't involve playing against somebody else, it's best to just practice against the AI because then you're able to get games a lot faster. And then once you're done practicing what you want to practice, you can just leave the game. So you can get a lot of practice in. Population, standard is 200, so usually it's kept at that, but sometimes people move it to like 500 and stuff like that. I feel like 500 is just so much. Like, it's crazy. Game speed is typically on normal, but sometimes people play on fast. I don't know what the difference what's casual and normal. I don't know. Um, Explored, the reveal map. So normal is basically you can only see what's in the line of sight of your units, but once you've explored like a certain area, it becomes kind of like gray. You can't see what's actually there, but you can see like the terrain of the map and stuff like that. And so that's what explored is. All visible as you can see everything. Starting age, again, the Dark Age was like the standard is Dark Age, but Dark Age, and then Feudal Age is the next age, Castle Age, Imperial Age, and then Post Imperial Age is actually everything is researched. So all your technologies have been researched. Yeah, treaty length. This is just for people that don't want to have like people rushing them usually. So these treaties are like I think there's like these barriers that are put around like the bases, and you can't like attack any units. I mean, you can't attack enemy units within this period of time. It's not really used very much except in like low level games. Um, Team settings. Um, Lock teams is basically um, if you don't have locked teams on, then you can change to the like whose team you're on during the game. And this is kind of used in what's called like an open diplomacy game, where like a free for all game, right? Where people are like all against each other, but like people want to work together. So having locked teams on means that you can't change teams. So if you're doing like a free for all, you wouldn't want to have locked teams on. But like in a team like a proper team game, you want to have locked teams on because you don't want like people that are getting upset with their teammates to just go off and like start attacking them and stuff like that. So team together is let's see. Okay, so team together basically means that like if you're on like a 4v4, like if it's 4 versus 4, all of your team members start like on the kind of the same side of the map, like you're all next to each other. I mean, there might be two players that are adjacent to like enemy teams, so I feel like maybe I should show you guys this. Yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You start with your teammates nearby, whereas if you don't have team together on, then you could start in between two enemies. So that's typical. Team together is pretty standard for team games. Team positions means that you can actually select what position you'll be on in the map based on your color. So, but usually it just depends. Sometimes people play with this on, sometimes they don't. Shared exploration means that you can see what your opponents see or your teammates see. So again, I don't really play a whole lot of team games, so I don't know what people are using nowadays, but I've seen both being used before. Lock speed just makes it so that people can't change the speed of the game, what was talked about up here, the speed, game speed. People can't, like, if you don't have lock speed on, then technically people can actually change the game speed during the game, which is kind of annoying, so I'd keep that on. Allow cheats, you want to keep that off if you're trying to play like a proper game. Turbo mode is a mode where, yeah, you can just kind of see it there. The buildings build faster, the villagers gather faster, they build faster, and they carry more. So it's not very popular, but it can make for some if you're trying to play like a really quick game and somebody else knows that you're playing turbo and they want to play a quick game, then it could be a easy way to play a pretty quick game because you collect resources so fast. It's easy to get to like the later parts of the game faster. So full tech tree is basically just like what it says. Like there's no civilization bonuses, and you can research every uh, technology. And then record game is just keep the game recorded. And then I guess this randomize just randomizes the options. So yeah, so here starting from the left, it's where you pick your color. Um, if you're playing against like AI or something, this is where you pick it. I think the AI here is the better. This AI here is the best AI. These two are just not very strong. Here's where you pick your team. Here's where you pick your civ. Again, we kind of talked about these before. Um, and then yeah, like if you're playing, here's the number of players. Although if you change this, it changes this there. So um, yeah. So let's go into the random map deathmatch thing. So if you guys have watched recordings of the game before, videos, streams, whatever, then you've probably seen these game modes before. And we're just going to go to Arabia because it's the most standard. But so random map in general is like the standard settings for it is you basically build up from nothing. So like if I start the game here, you'll see that I just start with a couple of villagers here and a town center. I'm in the Dark Age, which is the lowest age, and I just have some resources and I haven't seen the rest of the map. And then basically what happens is over time, you're gonna, work to gather resources and then use those resources to build an army to defeat the opponent. So, um, I think I turned the cheats off actually, which is, oh yeah, I did. So instead of spending all this time trying to build up and stuff like that, um, I think you guys get the point of this. I mean, again, just if you watch like a normal game, typically it's going to be a random map game, and again, you're going to see people building up. By the way, are these the small trees? They seem smaller, but they're not as. I thought I got the super small trees, but these don't seem super small. I guess like some trees are smaller. Anyways, so um, in random map, there's a lot more strategy involved because of the fact that it's played more, so there are a lot more strategies developed for it. But also because it's a lot more, the strategies are a lot more, um, what would you call it? Like since the game mode moves pretty like kind of relatively slow in the beginning, it's very important that like the way that you spend the resources is very precise, right? And so yeah, so like actually my first few guides after this will pretty much most of my guides will be random map focused and not deathmatch focused, but I'll throw in some deathmatch guides because I enjoy deathmatch and I think it's kind of fun as well. So, um, but a lot of the stuff is about how to distribute your villagers to make like optimal, um, to do like optimal strategies and stuff like that. Anyways, I'll talk about that later on. So let's just jump out of this. I think you guys get the point again. You're just building up from nothing, and then eventually, you'll get to the next age, and you'll make army, and then you'll attack your opponent and all that stuff. So let's jump out of this, and then I just want to bring up the deathmatch, and then I think that's going to be it for this video that has gone on way too long. But hopefully, if you've never played the game before, hopefully you'll have a better understanding of the interface of this game and stuff like that. And you won't have to like kind of question what everything is. Hopefully it makes sense. I mean, I know there's some things that I take for granted that people are just going to be confused about. Let me know in the comments if you get to this far. But yeah. All right, let's go to Arabia again. Arabia is pretty standard for deathmatch too, even though with the new rank system you play all these other maps. Nobody ever used to play these other maps before with deathmatch. Deathmatch used to be exclusively Arabia. Anyways, so we'll jump into a deathmatch game. So you can see the settings have actually changed. And by the way, this screen here kind of briefly shows you the settings, like it shows you your civs here and all that stuff. If you need to see the settings again, they're up here. If you press on this button here, I guess the next video I'll go into the actual game interface in here. I think a lot of it is the same stuff, but yeah, here it shows all the game stuff. So here it's Arabia, starting age, post-imperial age. Um, explored visibility. Where's it at? Right here, 200, team lock, etc. This doesn't say deathmatch though, does it? It's kind of surprising. It should say that, but it doesn't. Okay, so with deathmatch, there's one thing you notice that's different. The start looks almost the exact same. The difference is here we're actually in Imperial Age. We're actually in post-Imperial Age. All the technologies have been researched for this Civ, and we're now and now you can see that we have a ton of resources. So you might be thinking like play deathmatch the same way as random map. The difference is that the maps are actually when you play deathmatch. I guess actually they did this right. They've made the maps like when you're actually playing the deathmatch mode, it's made specifically for deathmatch, and it's not the exact. It's actually a different map than the random map version of Arabia, which is what this is, right? But you can see we don't have any sheep. We don't have any livestock or anything like that. The thing is we don't need livestock at this point. We have 20,000 food, all right? And right now, if the first thing we do is just build a bunch of town centers, what's going to happen when the other person makes full army? We're just going to get overrun. So the first thing you want to do in deathmatch is you want to make houses because your population is still pretty low here. It's only 4 out of 5. So if we don't make houses, we're going to be screwed. But you want to make army as fast as possible. So again, it depends on what civ you are here in terms of what you're gonna what you're gonna make maybe. But and that again, that requires like knowledge of the civilizations and stuff like that, which you'll learn over time. But yeah, you want to make army as fast as possible. And I guess I'll just go for a little like a couple seconds here. You can see here. Just focus on making army. And again, like which army to make. It's like this. This is like what you shouldn't do. You should never just like start going for economy like this, because you'll see right here. What happens when the enemy comes right across your base? Like this is a really bad. I don't know what AI difficulty this was, but this is really bad. It shouldn't be doing what it's doing right now. That's just not good. So yeah, you can see that you're making a lot of army quite fast here. So like I messed up already because I stopped making houses. You want to make sure that you're making houses. Otherwise, you'll be population capped. But yeah, you see here that enemy hasn't made any army, and now we're already at their base and already doing damage. And again, I'm not trying to say that my start was that great either. It was pretty bad actually compared to like what other people can do. But yeah, you don't want to do this. Anyways, yeah, this is deathmatch. I mean, you're gonna want to build economy eventually because most games the resources will run out. So after you've made your original buildings, then you're gonna switch into building like town centers and stuff like that. But yeah, deathmatch is I think a kind of a fun game mode for especially for people that don't necessarily have a lot of time to play like 30-minute to 1 hour random map games. Deathmatch games usually last somewhere between like 5 to maybe 25 minutes. So if you're just in it for a quick game, if you just want to play a quick game and get like the units pumping out and fighting and stuff like that, then I think deathmatch is a good game mode for you. So, anyways, um, let's yeah. So I think that's kind of covers it for this video. I covered pretty much everything you could cover on the interface side of things and just kind of get you started with the game. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the hotkeys. So that'll help you guys get set up in terms of like what units to make and stuff like that. Um, or actually, next video, I think I'll talk a little bit more about like the specific units and kind of talk about like which units counter which other units, and and then maybe after that we'll get into the hotkeys. After people kind of understand, because the way I set up my hotkeys is actually based on like kind of what the unit does. So you kind of need to know what the unit does before you'll understand the hotkeys. But anyways, if you stuck with this video, then good on you. And if you're new to the game and you found this video to be helpful, then just leave a comment in the uh, comment section and let me know because I appreciate I appreciate the feedback, and it's nice to know that I'm helping somebody. All right. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.